Let's discuss the stalled COVID relief talks. This is what we heard from the two sides earlier today. Watch this.
We've continued to make offer after offer after offer, and Nancy continues to move the goalposts. And as you know, we're up to $1.9 trillion. I personally have talked to the leader multiple times. I've talked to senators multiple times. And at the end of the day, it was the Democrats just last week who said that they weren't going to support a $500 billion deal. So they said no to some relief coming to Americans.
They keep moving the goalposts. They every time they say we move the goalposts, that means they're projecting what they did.
Andrew, as you know, millions of Americans are so desperate. They're out of work right now. So many of them, they can't pay the rent. They can't even buy enough food for their kids. Who should they blame for this impasse?
They should blame the dysfunction in Washington, Wolf, though I'm still cautiously optimistic that we're going to see a deal emerge in the next 9-10 days. In large part because the interests of the American people are so on the line. A study just came out that said that 1/3 of American workers have either lost their jobs or had to change jobs because of the pandemic, and that 25% of workers have had their wages go down. So in the face of that kind of overwhelming need, if you look at the politics involved, Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats should be chomping at the bit to get a deal done for the sake of their constituents. And Donald Trump and Steve Mnuchin have signaled that they want a deal as well. So if a deal can be struck early this week, I believe it still has a chance to get relief into the hands of the American people during this window. If we miss this window before the election, we could be waiting until February, which would be devastating for millions of Americans.
If it doesn't happen before November 3rd, do you think it could happen during the lame duck session, irrespective of who's elected president?
The politics unfortunately shift in a way that make it less likely. Big bills seldom get done during lame duck sessions after an election. And if you look at the president's interest, his interest will be sky high to try and get relief or signal relief to his supporters before they come out and vote next Tuesday. But then after that day, do we really think Donald Trump is going to be as concerned with trying to get relief into people's hands? So this window is crucially important, really just the next several days early this week in order to get legislation pushed to the Senate while they're still in session before Election Day.
I know you're not involved in the negotiations, but do you think both sides, at least at this sensitive moment, are simply playing politics with this relief bill that is so desperately needed by so many millions and millions of Americans?
I heard today from a laid-off tour bus operator in New York. He's 64 years old. He doesn't have a job anymore, and he says, "Where is my stimulus check?" Those are the people that I'd be thinking of if I were on either side of this negotiation. And if it were me, I would look at that interest and say, look, this may not be the perfect deal, but we need to get a deal done before Election Day. And then to the extent that there are imperfections or problems, we can always come back together and pass a new bill in the new year. But people need relief right now, from that tour bus operator to millions, or former tour bus operator to millions of other Americans around the country.
There's so many suffering and desperate people out there right now. Andrew Yang, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, Wolf.